All right. Okay. So thank you very much for coming on board in Kinde. I look forward to an amazing time. I'm sure everybody else would have questions that they can drop in as we go along. So let's get into it. Thank you once again.
All right. Okay. Good morning, everyone. And thank you again, Chris, for this opportunity. Get to this done as quickly. All right. So, for those who do not know me, my name is Omokehinde. I'm business lead for the RedWolf agency for Noah's Ark Communication. I'm currently responsible for leadership and overall business and account management for the agency. For those who do not know, Noah's Ark operates a group structure tied to Noah's Ark. So Noah's Ark is the creative underdog productions. Of course, the name says what it does. It's integrated indigo. So as I was saying, I said Noah's Ark operates a group structure. So we have Underdog Productions, which actually handles production and content creation. We have Indigo Integrated Indigo. They handle PR and experiential. Then we also have RedWolf. RedWolf started as a digital agency, but it's slowly evolving into a second line agency for the business. Yeah, I have a cross industry of about 10 years, and I've worked across all major sectors in the country, basically. All right, so let's get down to business, right? I believe that most people that will be listening to most people that will be listening to this will either fall into any of these categories. That's a client or an agency. Now, for the clients, probably you've just signed a new agency and you are so optimistic about what it is that you want to achieve. And, you are so, or, that referral you have when you've just gotten something new. Or you're either clients that already has a marketing or a digital agency as a partner, but you guys can't seem to understand or cannot seem to be able to be on the same page to achieve set objectives that you've put. So although I am an agency person, but all the things I'll be sharing is something you need to understand, and that is that success is heavily on synergy and not individual. So whether you're a client or you're an agency or you're a third-party vendor, everybody has a part to play, right? And for you to be able to achieve something, those each and every person be able to deliver what it sets down. Now, for that to be in place, right? And for those three things is specialization, symbiosis, and synchronicity. So like I said earlier on, specialization, symbiosis, and synchronicity. So what I'll do is I'll talk through each and every point as we move forward. So let's talk about specialization first. And the question I would like to ask is, how familiar are you with digital marketing? As a client, how familiar are you with digital marketing? As an agency, how familiar are you with digital marketing? A lot of people in Nigeria think that digital marketing is just social media. And so because they are limited to this understanding, it's quite very difficult for you to expand or know what it is you're supposed to be doing, right? And if you are either on the client side or you're the agency side, if you don't know digital marketing and you have a digital marketing partner, how do you guys want to be on the same page to deliver on your set objectives? And the truth is, if you're a client and you don't know digital marketing, the agency can see through it. Somebody at the agency would know that, oh, this person doesn't know digital marketing. If you're an agency, someone at the client side will also say, oh, these people don't really understand what digital marketing is, right? And you don't want to be the laughing stock because it actually happens. You don't want, as a client, you don't want to be that person that is mentioned when your agency are having a discussion and say, oh, is it this person? Oh, I don't know, that one's feedback does not make sense now. It does not even know what he's talking about, right? You also, if you're an agency, you don't want your clients to be in the middle of a business meeting and say, oh, I don't trust that my agency can deliver this thing, because I don't think they even understand what they're supposed to be doing, right? So first question is, how familiar are you with digital marketing? Now, a lack of understanding of how digital marketing works can cause a disconnection between your client and agency, because of course, you both are not on the same page. And no matter how you try to form or try to act like you know, it always, there's always a slip. Somebody sees through it, right?
Mm.
And if you do not understand what digital marketing is, you will not even understand, you won't have a complete appreciation for digital marketing as a whole, right? If you're on the client side and you don't know what digital marketing is, you will not be able to understand conceptualization. You would not be able to understand the process that goes into coming up with that simple caption, right? That simple caption that you put up on social media that you think is just, it's not just for somebody to write. Is it not just, right? When clients start using the word, is it not just, you will know that this person does not really understand what it is that I'm doing. From the agency side, also, you find out that you cannot, if you are the client that knows digital marketing and your agency doesn't know that much about digital marketing, you would not be able to get the best from them because you just see yourself, there's always back and forth, right? You don't seem to understand what's going on. And it's just simply because somebody somewhere does not understand what digital marketing is. See, from channel rules to best practices, trends, and channels, it is very essential for all clients, and not just clients, clients and agency, to have a full grasp of digital. Now, here are key areas of specialization that I think every agency and every client must have at least basic knowledge of: strategy, trends, tech tools, influencers, media buying, everything. For me, I believe that strategy is the most important thing you should look out for if you're a client and you're looking out to sign up a digital business as a partner. Because strategy is the foundation of every single thing. If you do not understand strategy, it will be very difficult to cascade it across, or whatever it is, this is the overarching idea, for you to cascade it across other platforms, right? After strategies, another thing or another area that I think as a client you should look out for is content creation and digital art direction. Because trust me, when strategy and digital art direction and content creation meet, magic is what you get, right? Because the person or your digital art director or your content person has a strategic background of what you're trying to achieve, right? Once you've been able to see that strategy and you've seen that your digital marketing partner has a great level of strategy and their content and creation is fantastic, another thing you should look out for is media buying. Because without media, you will not be able to pass across your information to the right set of people, right? And with having a strong media buying partner can do wonders for you, because they can help you amplify your idea beyond where what you've expected, right? So those are the three things I think as a client you should look out for when you are picking out a digital marketing partner to work with. Community management it's yeah. SEO and SEM is also a strong thing. Influencers, or you can manage influencers. Tech and tools, trends. Well, if you have a good strategy person, it's very easy for you to identify with trends, right? So I think that those three things are very important. As an agency also, those are the three places that I think you should have strength in: strategy, digital art direction, content creation, and media buying, right? Every other thing can come in between: SEO, SEM. And this is because in the country at the moment, just very few organizations or very few brands are exploring more than this, right? Most of them are limited to, most brands or most clients are limited to community management, website development, and that media buying. Let's use influencer. Like it's like a templated list that most of our clients work with, right? So if you already know that are the things that most clients are interested in, why don't you develop your skills as an agency to suit that purpose, and then of course increase it as time goes by, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so there are multiple platforms which you can provide, which provide a stream of materials you can learn from, right? You can go Google Ads, you can go to Google Ads Academy, HubSpot Academy, Udemy. You can even get DMI certification. DMI certification is not just for agencies. As a client, you need to have DMI certification. You need to be involved in digital marketing. We also have some brands that also do training. For example, I know Google renders training for some clients also. you should also be part of that. You should take tests, you should take exams. You can go online and learn these things, right? And do not be afraid to say, I don't know. Whether you are a client or you are an agency, if you do not know something, be honest about it so that you both parties can work together to get to fix it, whatever the problem is. Now, I'll move on to the next step, which is symbiosis. Now, this is a critical question. Is your digital agency truly your partner? Like, is your agency your partner? This isn't just only for digital agencies. Your traditional agency, your media buying agency, your PR agency, as a client, are they your partners? And as an agency, is your client truly your partner? This is a very key question, right? Or are they just your slave, right? Because a lot of people or a lot of brands do not understand the importance of having symbiosis, right? I'll be using some classic examples of the clients that we've worked with to further shed light on what I'm talking about. Something we pride ourselves in Noah's Ark and Ark Group as a whole is that we say that we are an extension of our client's marketing department. We are not just your agency, we are your partner. And this can only come through when the agency and the client understand that if I win, we both win. If I lose, we both lose, right? And because we understand that, both of us have an understanding of the objective or what it is we want to achieve as a business or for the brand, both of us begin to drive towards it, right? Now, it's also a great way to boost morale and getting even more expected from the parties involved in your marketing process. So see, when the agency or when the client understands that my agency is not just that person or those people there to just take briefs and just do as I've instructed, right? When they understand that, they tend to get more and more from them. I'll give you an example. There's a particular client that we've worked with, 3 Crowns Milk, right? When we started working with 3 Crowns Milk, I think in 2015, and we pitched, from the beginning, it was so clear. My Larry Adisa sold the idea and made them understand that, see guys, for us to be able to achieve what it is we've set out for this brand 3 Crowns Milk, we need to work together. You need to understand that I am your partner and I want the best for you. Because if you win, I win, right? And because both parties understood that, they worked seamlessly. Please don't get me wrong. Of course, there were days where, there were high and lows, but both parties worked together to develop the idea or develop the campaign, which is the Don't You Wish campaign, which was a fantastic campaign that we launched, right? That was because there was an understanding, right? Both partners knew the importance of each person and worked towards achieving just one goal, right? And see, when there's a fantastic relationship between the client and the agency, there's so many opportunities you can get, especially if you're a client, right? There's so many opportunities. Even as an agency, there's so many opportunities you can get if both of you if there's a symbiosis between the client and the agency. One of the things that happen mostly between client and agency in the country at the moment is that you hardly see agencies and clients that have this symbiotic relationship, right? Most times that's why you see a client can talk rudely to an agency person, can shout at them, can be rude in emails, you understand? And that's because client does not even understand the importance of that agency in his or her own life, right? And if you keep doing that, you would not get, trust me, you are getting the barest minimum from your agency if you are rude to them. You are. It's a given. In the years I've worked in Noah's Ark, I know that most clients that have mutual respect for their agency or for the agency, they always get the best from the team because the team is always looking forward to give them stuff, right? Do you understand? It also has the positive psychological effect of symbiotic relationship. It far outweighs that of a parasitic, and there are parasitic relationships between client and agency, right? It
Yeah.
far outweighs it. You think that as a client, you are developing ideas or you are sending your agency work to do and they're giving it to you. Okay, after that, what else are they doing? And that's because probably you've, in your own way, given the agency the impression that their opinion does not matter. They are not human beings, and so you can talk to them anyhow. Or they are just, after all, their agency, they should do whatever it is you've asked them, right? And there are people, there are brands, they are actually clients in this same Nigeria that have fantastic, Chris, fantastic relationship with their agency. And you will know through how their pages are managed, the ideas they come up with, the interaction, and everything like that. Now, here are the benefits of symbiosis for me. It's post proactivity. If I have a good, or if the agency has a good standing relationship with the client sometimes won't even need to brief before ideas begin to pop up with your agency, right? Everybody just knows that because I like this particular client, I want to do more for the client, right? And I have several examples that I can use for this. Another one is increased quality and quantity of output. Like I said earlier on, you feel that because you're the agency and you can talk to them anyhow and you can shout at them anyhow, after all, you're giving them brief and it's coming out. No problem. But have you tried to be to establish a great relationship with them? You would notice that things just begin to change and the people you're talking to begin to work well for you, right? I have a client that when we first started the relationship, it was going smoothly as possible. And I remember when we won the account, everybody was like, oh God, we're going to work so hard. We're going to win an award with this account. And then 6 months into I don't know, I honestly don't know what happened. Like, I think we're having issues with another brand in the same, those clients that have several brands. And probably they had, they usually talk to each other, and this client of mine started misbehaving. I couldn't understand what was happening, right? To the extent that I had to reach out to another client contact. Like, did we do anything wrong? Did we do anything wrong? Because I don't know what's happening, right? And she couldn't herself. She noticed, but she could, because the person is our boss. There was little she could really do. You understand? And it affected the relationship we have. So you see, it's now you don't want to outrightly be in meetings because you don't understand. You cannot predict, right? How it will go.
Yeah.
It's so obvious that there's so much tense in the air with the client, and I know that at some point we did try to reach out to her, like, okay, let's talk about this. What's happening? But she never really gave us the chance to do that, right? So now let's just do what we have to do, right? If there's a fantastic relationship with the client, your agency tends to increase their quality and quantity of output. That's a given. And then it guarantees prolonged relationship. See, as a client, you will not be a client forever. As an agency, you will not be an agency forever, right? We've had instances where the client moves down to the agency. We have instances where the agency person moves down to the client. Right? Once you have a fantastic relationship with your client, and it's an easy, how would I put it?
Transition.
It's an easy transition. And it moves past work relationship. I have a fantastic client that currently I don't do digital for them anymore. I've stopped doing digital for them for like 3 months now. No, 3 years now. 3 years, yeah. And just last few weeks, we're still at the house eating fish, right? Because the relationship has passed beyond work relationship. You understand? And we can talk about so many things. We can talk about family. We can talk about so many other things. I'll give another classic example. Nokia. I had a client, Olumide doesn't work with Nokia anymore. And this particular client of mine, I used to handle digital social for him when he was working at Nokia. And then one day out of the blues, Olumide calls my phone and says, oh, Kenny, how are you? Of course, it's my client. Hi, Olumide, good afternoon. How are you doing? I'm fine. He said, no, Kenny, how are you? I'm like, I'm sorry, Olumide, I don't understand. He said, because in the past few weeks, I've noticed that one, you don't send your reports quickly. Number two, your mails are a little bit scattered. Number three, you can't give me concrete feedback on stuff. And you never used to be like that. So what's the problem? And then I was like, not. He said, no, Kenny, I understand that I'm your client, but I need to know because it's affecting work. So I need to know what, so that I can know my expectation or limit the expectations. I need to know what is happening. And truthfully, at that point in time, I was going through some stuff at home. So I just told him that, okay, actually, that the truth is it's been a little bit difficult. I was having some issues at home and stuff like that, and it was affecting work. And I'm so sorry because I didn't know it was affecting work, right? And I'm so sorry about it. And he said, okay, he understands now because he didn't want a situation where he would just assume I just didn't want to work on his brand anymore. And that was why I was misbehaving. That's why he called to ask what the problem was, because he noticed something was wrong. And I told him that I'm sorry that that was wrong on my part to bring my problems from home to work. It shouldn't happen. And that I apologized. And a week after, he sent me a mail and said, oh, he has noticed that things have changed. Now you can imagine if there was no symbiosis between I and that client, right? He would have probably called my boss and said, I want Kendi off the account. And my boss would be like, what happens? Because Kendi is not delivering on her jobs anymore. I don't even understand what's going on. She does not send these reports quickly. She does not, and he will complain. And because he's a client, my agency might have no other choice but to take me off the account, right? So that is some level of relationship with that client. I can tell you, Olumide doesn't work for Nokia anymore or doesn't work with us directly anymore. But there are days where we all sit down as a team and just talk about him. Oh, we miss Olumide. Oh, if Olumide was here, this is what would have happened. Oh, this is that, right? You understand? That's because we've been able to create a fantastic symbiosis between the client and the agency. My boss always tells our clients, we are an extension of your marketing department. You need to know that we will have your best interest at heart. Every client should understand that their agency has the best interest at heart. Your agency would not intentionally want to ruin the business for you. Never. Because if things go according to plan, they will be making money, right? You are going with the awards, you are going with the awareness, you have the consumers. This person is gaining more money. It's a win-win situation, right? So another thing is that, of course, the benefit of symbiosis is that it creates more opportunities because both of you are thinking in the same level or thinking in the same wavelength, right? You can come up with opportunities at the spur of the moment, because both of you understand what it is you want. Again, please do not get me wrong. I'm not saying that you're going to be having a fantastic all year round relationship with your clients, because it's not possible. We are all human beings, right? And there are days when we are not at our 100. And there's times when circumstances beyond our control, like internet issues will happen, and there's a FA that needs to go out by 3 o'clock, and ISP decides to be a problem, and your client is removing smoke from his or her head, like, you know what, I don't even care, I need this material now, because he also is under pressure, right? It happens, but that does not defeat the purpose of having a fantastic symbiotic relationship with your client or your agents. It's a win-win situation. Now we move on to synchronization. Now a lot of businesses sit on this table, right? As in, having synchronization is actually 100. And I'll give you several examples as to that. Now, the greatest disconnect for a business or brand is having different channels communicating different things at the same time. Most businesses or most clients sometimes think like digital is an add-on or digital is an afterthought, right? And because they think this way, when they're coming up with plans or coming up with campaigns, your digital team is usually the last to know that there's something brewing. Or what they just do is just tell the PR, send them pictures and tell them to put it up online. or send them images and send it. Trust me, this even happens. It's the most it happens a lot, right?
Yeah.
And for the client needs to understand that, right? Even for the agency, the client needs to understand, both parties need to understand that from PR to experiential to trade to everybody. If you are a kind of agent or client that operates a multi-agency approach, you need to always bring everybody up to speed. You need to bring people to the table, right?
Yeah.
As because it's a win for you as a business. I'll give you an example. I'll use Nokia as an example also. Till today, we do it. We have inter-agency meeting. When Olumide was still with the team, what we do is that we move from agency to agency to have meetings. And at that meetings, your digital agency is there, your PR agency, your marketing agency, your creative agency, every aspect of every partner agency is on that table. Now, in the first 3 months, it wasn't smooth, Chris, at all. Oh, it wasn't smooth, right? Like, because you can't imagine if a creative person has come to share ideas and the PR person tells you, I don't think, and then the creative person is like, excuse me, you don't have a right to tell me my ideas are shitty, I'm sorry, right? And then digital social too is doing their own stuff, and media buying is saying, actually, no, and excuse me, I've been doing social media for a long time and I know that this content is not going to make sense. You understand? Yeah. There was so much misunderstanding, right? And my clients will say, after we do all the shenanigans of maybe sending mails back and forth, and the mails are a little bit cryptic and we are insulting each other, you know, those professional insults. And my client, yeah, and he's just looking at the mails going back and forth. He's not going to say anything. He's just going to wait for the next agency meeting. And then everybody comes into the agency meeting boning, like, you know what, nobody says hello to each other. And he says, you know what, guys, see, I like this misunderstanding you guys do, because it's healthy for me. Because the truth is, whether you like it or not, we are all working for the benefit of the brand. So I know that when PR is angry with creative, it's because PR thinks that this idea will not work for the business or for the product, right? Yeah. We are all working together. Whether we fight, I know this fight is because of work and it's not personal. It's obviously not personal. And it's good to know that everybody has the interest of the brand at heart, right? And you guys need to understand, again, he will say that you all need to work together, because if this campaign succeeds, it's for all of us. We will be able to put it up on our status. We'll be able to say, yes, in truth, I worked on this product, right? And over time, we just found out that it was just a seamless approach, right? Because everybody's on the table from start to finish, from end to end, from conceptualization to execution. It was much easier for the client, right? Because one thing, if PR misses an information, definitely media will have that information, right? For example, if social was not in the meeting, I don't need to call my client and ask him, okay, so what was discussed in the meeting? I can just call my algorithm team and say, guys, sorry, if you remember when this person was talking about this thing, he said something. Can you remember what he said? Yes, okay, right. Or you understand, because everybody, there was some synchronization between all partner agencies. So for an agency or for a client, I do recommend that if you're working with several multi-agencies, always bring everybody to the table to discuss or align on ideas. Do not make digital marketing an afterthought. If you are an agency and you know your client deals with so many other businesses or so many agents, you have the right to request for a multi-agency meeting so that everybody is on board. Because in the long run, it favors you, especially if you are the digital marketing agency. It favors you because then you have an idea of everything that is happening. You can think more, right? Yeah. It doesn't pay it when your offline is saying something else and your online is saying something, and it's always obvious, right? It's always obvious, because brands or businesses need to understand that your consumer is not just anybody. Consumers are becoming smarter. Consumers know what when they see something is not aligning, they know, right? I don't need to be in an agency to know that, what are these people saying offline? But this was not what the message I saw online. Why is it different? Why is offline saying something else and online is talking about range, but offline is talking about a specific product? What's going on? Was there now an alignment on objectives or the key message they are passing across? You understand? Things like that. People ask questions, and you don't want it as a business or as a brand, you don't want to be seen as a business that does not know how to hold his house, or how, yeah, let me just use that, hold his house. Now, the benefits of synchronicity for a digital agency is that it is a greater pool of content, because you are aware of from start to finish, right? Because you know what is happening. You can think better. You know the objectives of each platform. You know what to expect from each platform. It can help you think, right? So you have more content to create. There's also an alignment with your overall brand objective. So because everybody was involved from start to finish, the message is singular from across all platforms, across all touch points. You are saying the same thing. The brand objective you are trying to achieve is the same thing, right? You are not expecting magic from digital. You're not expecting magic from radio. You, everybody knows what each person is playing, right? And then it drives single-mindedness via digital. Because I am aware of what is happening, I know this is what I want to do. I focus on what I'm supposed to do. Not the one that today, they tell me, we are passing across this message. Next week, there's also this message. Next 2 weeks. And I don't have a choice because I'm your client, I'm your agency. And when I reach out to you as the client and say, don't you think we should we can't be communicating 5 things at the same time. What do you think? Don't you think we should, you understand? Start with one first and then, move on to other things. Some clients might take that as, indirectly, this person just called me and asked, like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And say, no, you must go ahead and do what I asked you to do. Some other clients will be like, you have a point, though. So what do you think? They will ask more questions, and eventually they will say, yeah, it's true. Let's just go through this. You understand? Yeah. And then of course, it expands strategic horizons, because as a digital marketing partner, you know everything that is happening. You can think more, you can do more, you can create more, right? You would not run out of content quickly because you are aware of everything that is happening across all touch points of the brand you are working on. Now, so I've said that. I don't know. I don't know if I was supposed to give some examples, but let me just quickly use my last example that I'll give. Unfortunately, I won't be able to talk about name this particular client of mine. So I'll just client A and client B, right? So client A for us used to, of course, we were just doing digital for client A, and of course, it was the process of maybe a day before. They just say, okay, this is what we want to do, and then we'll do it. We don't have a choice, you understand, because anyway, they are a client, and nothing you say will ever make a difference. So, okay, let's go ahead and just do what they want. But client B, so client A actually launched a new product, and heavy spending on awareness, and it was everywhere, fantastic. But client B, when they were launching the product, so what client A did was they just sent us the material and said, we are launching this product in the next 1 week, come up with engagement idea. And so we asked, what's the overarching idea? Okay, we want to believe there's traditional. So what's the overarching strategy for this thing? They don't have, okay. Okay, all right. So what are we doing? We are just creating awareness on social, right? Okay, no problem. We'll do that. So we created awareness on social, did reports, send it, no problem. But when client B was launching their own product, from the start of the campaign, since the idea to when they executed, everybody was involved, right? In fact, at some point, I used to ask myself, do I need to be in this meeting? Like, why do I need to be in this meeting? Because I already know what you guys are doing. But then I understand the client was trying to make sure that her partners were all involved in everything from start to finish. So when we were going to launch the campaign, right, you know what happened? All partner agencies put up the product material across their own platforms, of course, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, social, right? And of course, there was paid media, there was everything happening, and it was everywhere, and everybody was like, hey, we've launched our product. Yes, finally, this thing is off our desk. And the client A then calls me and said, Kenny, I want to ask you a question between me and you. I said, sure, no problem. The marketing budget for client B, is it as much as ours? I said, to be honest, I won't lie to you, no. But I've been seeing their products everywhere. I said, well, to be honest, let me tell you what happened. The client involves the team. It's an online and offline campaign. Yeah. She said, yes, I know, but the one that she also sent at that point in time was an online and offline campaign. I'm like, oh wow, I'm just hearing that from you now that campaign was a 360 campaign. Because if you remember, you just sent me the product and asked me to come up with an engagement idea. And I remember we asked you if there was an overarching strategy for the campaign, and you didn't give a response, but you requested for engagement ideas. She said, yeah. I said, well, for this one, it's also an offline and online campaign. And what happens is that they also leverage internal stakeholders. So everybody on the team, not just the team, but all partner agencies also deployed across platform. That she now said, but she sees it on LinkedIn. I said, well, I can tell you for free that LinkedIn was not even part of the platforms that was recommended for that campaign. So if you're seeing it on LinkedIn, that means it's either a partner agency put it up or the client put it up, right? So she asked, and are you sure they're not doing there's no paid behind LinkedIn? I said, I'm telling you, there's nothing. Last I checked, or what I know. But if you want me to ask the media buying agency, I'm so sure, right? She was a little bit confused, like, so are you saying that, Kenny, that she couldn't understand, because she felt that they were putting so much money behind it. And then I had to explain to her that, number one, I didn't even know there was an offline campaign to it. Maybe if I had known, I do remember that we asked. If I had known, maybe we would have even called for a meeting and said, okay, what are they thinking? And then just streamline from there. That's one. Number two, we would have had a meeting with all agencies, right? And then everybody will be involved. But that was not what happened. Fortunately for client B, that was what happened for them. And they leveraged their already existing partners to push. And that's because they have a great relationship with all their agencies. So it was an easy sell. Great relationship with the agency. The client understands what digital marketing is. It's a fantastic synchronicity between client and agency, between offline and online. Fantastic symbiosis between the client and the agency partners, and the client is aware of digital marketing, right? And that was what put that together was what brought out success for that particular brand. And I've seen it happen over. There's so many clients that we've done that for. So many clients that when we see it online, we're like, we're so happy that yes. Because of the fantastic synchronicity, symbiosis, and synergy. That was why we were able to come up with this fantastic stuff. So if you are a client, right? If you are a client, I recommend that you have a meeting with your agent. If you are a client that sits into category 1, I mentioned earlier, category 1 is a client that has just signed up their digital agency, right? And they are looking for so much to do. Here's a chance for you to fix it before it gets broken, or here's a chance to make sure it does not get broken. Why don't you have a meeting with your agency? Why don't you introduce your new digital agency to your other existing partners, right? Why don't you all have a meeting and begin to plan? You don't have to have a meeting weekly. You can have a bi-weekly meeting of all your partner agencies just to talk about the brand, work around the brand to be able to develop whatever it is or meet set objectives. If you are a client that fits into category B, where you have a digital agency, but you just can't seem to understand what the problem is. It's like you're speaking Mandarin and they just don't understand you. Like you're wondering what's going on. I keep telling these people I want this thing and it keeps happening. Maybe it's time for you to have a sit down with that agency and ask, what exactly is the problem? Right? See, guys, we are partners. And the truth is, we need to fix it. There's a problem. What is it? Let's fix this problem, right? And Let it be a honest conversation between both parties and then move forward from there, right? And when you have that meeting, also try to involve your other partners so that everybody can work towards one goal, which is the success of the brand. Wow. If you're an agency, right? If you're an agency that has just signed a new client, please and please always request for an onboarding session so that you and your clients are on the same page. Always request an onboarding session. Also request to meet with your other partner agencies so that you can know, so that you are aware of what is happening, especially because you are new, so that it is more easier for you to flow, right? If you are an agency that feels it fits into category B, where you are having issues with your client and you just don't know what the problem is, it is time to have that meeting also. See, this is the problem, right? We've noticed this is happening. We need, because we want the best for this brand, we need to all come to the table and address this issue before it becomes something else. So that it's even in record for you as an agency that you did try to fix the problem, right? So you need to meet together with your client and say, this is what is happening. This is the problem. This is our recommended solution. What do you think? Both of you should align on your on solutions and then move forward from there. If they have partner agencies, also request. It is your right to request for a meeting with your partner agencies so that you can all be on the same page, right? If you as an agency or your client can explore these 3 points that I have mentioned, I can assure you that it's going to be magic. It's magic.
Wow.
It's not like I think there won't be down days, or there will be down days, or there will be days where both of you cannot stand each other. That's a given. But you have more good days than bad days because both of you are on the same page and know what it is that you want to achieve. And there's a fantastic relationship between both of you. All right. So, thank you so much. Very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. In fact, you've hit the nail on the head in so many places. But I have 1 or 2 questions, and then we also have a question from Bukayo. Let me just take his question first before I ask mine, okay?
No problem.
So his question is, how do you deal with clients who find it difficult to carry you along from planning and strategy stage, but involved in the execution stage, which then affects the campaign performance based on the strategy that didn't work? I'm sure you get that question. So the client didn't carry you along from the beginning, and then he brings you in at the point of execution, and then you have to execute something that wasn't your idea, and you execute it, and it doesn't work, and they put the blame on you. You know?
Yes, that happens a lot. So that's a very, very, especially if you're a digital marketing agency, right?
Oh my God.
Happens a lot.
A whole lot. Yeah. Right. So how do you manage that?
To be honest, it's a tough one, right? Especially in a country where your client is always right. So what we try to do as a business is that when a client asks us to execute something, we always ask the right questions via mail, actually, via documentation. We document, say, okay, so what's the strategy for this engagement idea? What's the plan? What's the objective? What's the this, that? If you ask me to work with a small budget also, I also let you know from the beginning. If you say, oh, reduce this budget and stuff like that, or execution, I let you know that, okay, via mail that, okay, this is noted. However, would like to let you know that working with this budget will not help us achieve said objectives. We recommend that there's always because it's not only about identifying the problem. It's also recommending a solution. We recommend that we do A, B, C. If, however, that's the key word. If, however, you want us to proceed with what you've proposed, please kindly let us know, right? So the client then replies the mail and say, proceed with what I asked you to do. Oh, top, no problem.
Perfect.
When the shit hits the roof, sorry for my language, right? We all come back to the meeting table. Oh, this, that. But we quite understand how infuriating this might be, that this campaign didn't go as planned. But if you remember, we explained in our mail to you that this, or we told you, if you remember, we told you that this. 80% of the time, the client says, you never told me that.
Mm-hmm.
80% of the time. Then what we do is to say, oh, but there's a mail to it, right? There's a mail to it to say, we did mention to you that A, B, C. Also, I called you, or Kehinde called you to explain this to you that B, C, D. But you asked us to proceed. Now that we've known this is a problem, going forward into our next engagement or execution, we do ask that you please carry us along from the start so that we can align on objectives or yes, we can align on objectives and whatever it is we intend to achieve. It's a hard pill to swallow for the client. But as an agency, it also saves you a lot of stress because trust me, no offense to clients, there are some clients that will blame you for every single thing. And sometimes this client or these people have somebody they report to. So for example, that person is going to call, sees that the campaign has messed up. We'll then send a stinker to say, Team Bukayo, this meeting was, or this is what's supposed to happen. Not knowing that Bukayo has told, let me say, Chris, who is the client, that Chris, this thing will not work. Oh. But Chris at that point is not going to say, actually, Bukayo actually told me, and I take full responsibility for this. They're going to expect, because you are the agency, you should take responsibility for that. I'm sorry. No, it's not every time I'm going to do that. No offense, but I can't take responsibility for everything that is wrong every single time. There are times I can, but there are some times that we just all need to say the truth to ourselves. I told you. So Bukayo, like I said earlier on, these things are unavoidable, right? It happens. What you can do as an agency is to have that discussion with your clients, to let your clients know, this thing you've asked me to do. Here are the results that could come up of it. I recommend that we do ABC, right? If clients insist, please go ahead. Always document it via mail. Always document it, because your boss is going to ask you, right? Your boss is going to ask you the question, why is this happening? You want to be able to stand in front of your client, your boss, to say, this is what happened. This is what we recommended as an agency. But the client insisted we do this. In the middle of the campaign, I also still brought it to the client to say, it's not so late for us to change to optimize this campaign because of this. Let us, but the client didn't give a response or insisted I go ahead with the execution, and this is the result, right? Now, I'm not saying that you should now go back to the client and say, it's your fault. It's your fault. It's not it's not a blame game meeting. Half of the time when you call meetings like that, right? There are some clients that will actually tell you from the get-go, they'll say, this meeting is not a blame game meeting. We know this is a problem. Let's fix it together. Right? There are some clients like that. There are also some clients that actually will say, as the agency, you should have done this. This is where you come out and say, but I told you, I actually did mention this. I did a mail to this. But now that the problem has been identified, can we work together to fix it? How can we fix it? I don't think there's any clients that would say no to you fixing a problem for them. I don't think so.
Okay.
I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah, I believe you did a good job. Yes, Bukayo says yes. So I have a question too. Now, how big a digital agency do you really need? All right. So sometimes, the reason why I asked you to come on this particular topic is because I wanted someone that had the holistic picture. You had someone that has seen the execution from PR to creative to media to digital, and then bring it down to digital. All right. But there's some times where a client, maybe for budget constraints or just based on what they're trying to achieve, they don't really need everybody. They just need a digital agency that has, an understanding of, maybe creative and media. So the question is, from your experience, I'm a small business. Maybe I don't have 10 million or 15 million like the big guys. I'm just trying to run a new product into the market. It's a new product. We don't have a very large marketing budget. We're still trying to test the waters. So how big an agency, what's the best minimum of what we need for me to say, let me work with these guys as an agency? Is it a one-man person, one guy that can do animation, do video, do copy, do content, or, should you try and get more hands? I'm sure you get my question.
Yeah. So if I get, as a business, right?
Yeah.
So one of the trends we are noticing as a digital marketing agency is that some clients have begun to explore in-house, right? And
Yes.
what they try to do is they hire a digital marketing head, then they hire a community manager, and then
Mm-hmm.
they hire an art director, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they leave media buying for the media buying agency. Sometimes some
Mm-hmm.
people also have a full team in-house, right?
Mm.
And some actually also explore agency. The truth is, it depends on the client, right? I cannot, and it depends on what it is the client wants to do. If your client wants to, there are some products that the client wants to launch, and the client just tells you that, see, this product I want to do, it's just digital. I want to explore.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to do digital. The question you should ask is, what part of digital do you want to do, right? Because
Mm.
a lot of people might think, oh, digital is just social, right? And then when you see the products, when you get the product, when you see the target audience, when you see the objectives you're trying to achieve, and so many things you're trying to, and all those other key information, that kind of determines the platform you use. Yeah. So if the client, if the client,
Yeah.
you feel as the agency that this product might not really be, we can do digital, but you still have to explore some offline stuff. You can propose it to your client, right? There are some clients that will say, oh, please start with social first, and then we proceed to this, that. It totally depends on what the client is trying to achieve. I don't know if you understand me.
Yeah, I
It,
do.
as if you, there are some clients that, okay, so for example, if you're for RedWolf as a business, right? There's some clients that come to meet us and say, I want to launch this campaign via digital. And by the time they come, when we go back with a digital plan, they are saying, oh, no, 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 no. This is not the digital I was talking about. I mean, I just want to do social media. I want
Mm.
to do influencer. And I want to just run Facebook ads.
Mm.
Like, so, okay, right. All right. No problem. Okay, no problem. That is fine. We can just reduce. You do know that for your social, you're going to need resources to do this job. You're going to need your resource of it. You're going to need an art director, you this, that. For your
Mm-hmm.
influencers, don't worry, your account manager will do that. However, it's a third party cost, so you still have to pay some bank charges. Facebook, you need a media buyer, right? Like
Mm.
that. So you know your resource is small. Compared to someone that says, I want a full digital marketing plan. I need to do SEO. I have website. I need
Mm.
to do this and that. So it's totally dependent on the scope of work,
Mm.
right? So Chris, if a client comes to meet you and says, I want to do this, you need to be sure what exactly they want to do. Because your own definition of digital is entirely different from the definition of, let me use an example, Bukayo's digital, right? It's entirely different from the definition of Kende's digital, right? If RedWolf is going, if RedWolf as a business is going to pitch for an account, and we see that this account is not just digital that this person needs, I'm not going to go there with just digital. I'll go with something extra. If I see that it is radio will be a key component in this campaign we are going to do, I'm not just going to go with digital, I'm going to go with radio also, right? If I know that, oh, apart from doing radio, these clients will actually need, at some point, will need to explore print. I will go with print ideas also, right? That's one thing we do as a business. So if my client comes to meet me and says, Kendi, I want to put up this product and I want it to be a digital campaign. By the time the strategist picks it up and the team comes together to brainstorm and they see this product actually does not need only digital. This product needs digital and some offline support. When I'm going back to my client, I'm going to go back to my client with a digital plan supported by offline platforms. It's not left for the client to say, oh, no, 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 no. You know, sometimes the client might not even be thinking of it to that extent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's an example of one. I have a client, just last week, a client wanted us to do social media for them. No, strategy, digital strategy. But in our explanation to us, because when they came to meet us and said, oh, the client wants to do digital strategy, I said, let me just have a meeting with her and ask her again what she wants. So I asked her, so your digital strategy, but what you are explaining to me here is more of social. You want us to come up with content for social. She said, yes, that's this. And I said, because when you tell me digital strategy, it's not just social media. We are talking about, key areas in digital you want us to explore for your brand. She said, no, that's not what I want. I just need you guys to be coming up with the content calendar for the week, for the month. I said, okay, are you sure you don't need me to also come up? So for example, if I come up with a strategy now, my strategy can have recommendations of paid media, can have recommendation of SEO. She said, no, not that. I just need you to come up with a digital strategy for, and I had to correct her and say, when you tell me digital strategy, right? What you are requesting for is you are asking me to come up with content calendar. Right? So, she said, yes, no problem. So the content calendar is, I should come up with the theme for the month, Abby? She said, yes, okay. So that theme for the month, I'll now cascade it into pillars and put it up on your social, right? She said, yes. I said, good. So you can imagine if I didn't have a meeting with that kind of client, or if I don't understand the scope of work the client actually has. So as a small business, Chris, I recommend that whenever you are meeting with a client, you need to know your scope of work, right? It is very important. If you know your scope of work, it helps you know to determine, do I need a small team for this? Or do I need the full agency for this? Right? It also helps with your costing. Because if I need a small team for this, I know that the person and the resource I'm costing for is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it's a digit full, I know I'm costing for a web developer, I'm costing for an SEO specialist, I'm costing for this as a resource. You understand? Scope of work is very important. If you have a scope of work from your client, and always try to have a meeting with that client to understand. If possible, if you can't have a meeting, send them an understanding of a brief to be clear on what it is they want. So it saves you also time. It saves you time, it saves you energy, and it just helps you plan better as a small business on what you want.
Okay, thank you so much, Kenya. I have just one more question based on, and then we can round up. I know we're already shooting up beyond time. But the question I'm asking is based on the things you've said, okay, and it's coming from all the way from the beginning of the training. Okay. All right, now you spoke about the Nokia clients who seem to have a what I'll call client maturity, kind of understood how to work with all the agencies together to achieve what he wanted. All right. Yeah. Now you spoke about the other clients who seem to not have an understanding of what she really wanted, and so she was calling A B and calling B A. All right. Mm. So that brings me back to the topic where you spoke about, knowledge on the part of the client.
Yes.
So how do you handle a client who doesn't know? Now, not knowing goes beyond just knowing what digital is, also knowing how to handle the relationship, the terminologies. Sometimes somebody was in maybe admin, and then the company just said, look, we need a communication manager. Oh yeah, you come and sit down on this chair. Yeah. So that happens. So how do you handle clients who don't have that kind of knowledge across not just technical skills now, but even the business skills? How do you handle that?
So what we try to do as a business is that we also try to help them be better. So what we do is, if we know, from your first meeting or your second meeting with the client, you already know this client doesn't know anything, right? It's all clear from the words, the clarity they request on a particular idea or particular subject. You already know that this person is going to be a very troublesome person because this person doesn't know what I'm talking about. What I try to do, or what we try to do, or what account executives also try to do is also try to explain to them. So if the client doesn't know, I try to give clarity, right? And make them understand. I'm not going to approach the clients in a way that, see, I know better than you. I know better than you. So no, it's in a, how would I put it? It's in a, let me just put it in a, there's some, how would I put this thing? So if a client doesn't know, right, what we try to do as a business is to say, we identify that, oh, this client doesn't know. What we try to do is try to help them be better. So in the way I will explain some things to a client is, and for a client that doesn't know, is entirely different from a client. It's entirely different from the way I will explain to a client that knows. For example, I just gave you an example of a client that wanted something else and was requesting for something else. So I kept trying to explain to her that, okay, because when you request for this, right, that means you are asking me to do A, B, and C. But from your own explanation, I see that you want me to do C, D, and E. So that means that what you actually need, I'm not going to outrightly say, damn, you're stupid, God forgive me. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, what you actually need is that you need A, B, and C. And usually that's basically called content strategy or content plan. It's not that serious. You don't need to come up with a full strategy for that. It's not that whatever you'll get. Then she goes, oh, okay. So if I need this, then if you need this, if you now want me to do A, B, and C, see, remember, your client is supposed to be your partner. If your partner doesn't know, you help them know. You help them. You don't have a choice because it makes your own work easier. To be honest, it does. And please, there are some, I'm not disputing the fact that there are some clients that will not accept the fact they don't know and will continue frustrating you, right? Unfortunately, you are the agency, right? You are the agency. You don't have a choice. You have to keep helping them know. Because whether you like it or not, the clients, when you explain things to them, right, they are also going to go and explain to somebody else, probably their bosses. And because they have the knowledge, they've been able to listen to you explain, it's more easier for them to go back and say, maybe if clients, if they go and want to get approval from a senior boss, dear Mr. something, based on discussions to brief agency to come up with this, the agency recommends that we do ABC, and this is the reason why, right? And based on this, please advise on next line of action. If the other senior person looks at it and say, this thing actually makes sense, so all right, please ask agency to proceed, or let's have a meeting with the agency. Or no, any of the answers. However it is, you've done your own part as an agency to educate your clients, to let them know this is the situation of things, right? So as I just recommend as an you unfortunately you cannot avoid dealing with people like that, but you are the agency. You can help that person be better. It's just like if an intern comes to work in your business. The intern basically doesn't know anything also. You are going to take time out to, teach that person also.
Yeah.
So if you can do that for your intern, what's the problem with the client? You just need to lower your expectations when it comes to the client and know that because this particular person I'm dealing with, I have to take it a notch down when I'm explaining my ideas to her. I have to take it a notch down when I'm using those jargons that is for social. I need to explain it better to her. But if I'm dealing with client B, I don't need to do that because client B is very knowledgeable, right? And even if I use my jargons, client B can stop me in the middle of the meeting and say, sorry. Can you please explain to me again what you mean by this? And you explain. Right? So I don't know if it's answered your...
Yeah, you have, Kehinde. Thank you so much. I don't want to take any more of your time. Done a fantastic job for us today. Thank you so much for coming on board.